your identity. And so to some degree, what's interesting, if it is on the outside, it goes back to the idea of skin, because that's what people see. That's the identity. That's how we know that you're that blob and I'm this blob and that's yes. that blob. You know, we all have characteristics. We know what humans look like, but you know, that's what it is. That, to some degree, where the skin keeps our blobs separate, but it's that's also funny. Once you work in a hospital environment, you just start to see the human body in that fashion at some point.
Is the yellow bright or dull?
Yes.
Or it's bright, okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's a bright yellow.
Then what you're doing is that you're allowing yourself to see the higher frequencies of your self-esteem that you are or going to be moving into.
And emanating.
Good one.
Cool.
What else?
I like that. And it's 12 circles. I'm like, okay.
That's funny.
Because we were talking about 12.
It's 12. I'm just like,
yes.
Okay, the 12 music notes or whatnot. Is there a website where I can see that at?
I put that in the chat room.
Okay.
I'll put it again.
voicebio.com.
I'll put it again just because the screen goes up and down and all that information.
12, and if you understand that the end times, as they call it in the end of the Bible, is really the 12 meridians. It's learning to see them separately and then watching the rhythm of them working together to create a harmony.
And I was talking also about the 12 disciples that followed Jesus and the 12 tribes of Israel, and those were the 12 clans that they divided up the Holy Land into 12. And so,
makes sense.
And then Joseph had, there were 12, or Jacob had 12 children. And so the number 12 keeps repeating through the Bible.
And if we were to look at the angel number 12, it says, keep your thoughts positive about the future. As what you are thinking influences your future, this is a message to keep your faith and hope strong, because these strong determining factors right now. So you have these strong things. So what else is going on with your circles?
What you said, what's going
when
on
you
with
tell me more about your painting.
Okay, I'll check it. Well, in the middle, there's red, and right up that, there's... Oh. I'm sorry, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay, because it's bouncing back, that's why. But yeah, in the middle, there's red, and originally I had the idea, okay, I'm going to do a whole rainbow and do the colors of the chakras in the order of the chakras. When I did the red, I immediately went to blue, and then after the blue, there's orange. And then after the orange, there's like an orange-yellow color.
Okay.
And then after that, there's yellow, that bright yellow that I said that was on the outside.
Right.
And then after that, there's green. Then there's a layer of blue, a layer of red, a layer of, I want to say, violet. Yeah, and then like an indigo, purple, and then orange, and then the bright yellow I was talking about.
Okay, so what you're doing is you're learning about your foundation. So I'm going to go by the colors you gave us. So you're learning to find that you can have the necessary materials, which fulfills your necessities so that you can survive. You have the resources. You know that you can do it alone, work with people. Now, as you will learn to express your survival, because blue is about survival, you're allowing yourself to make the choices and express. And orange, the reason it comes afterwards is that you're learning to not only survive and express, but you're having relationships, that you can do this with relationships, but keep your identity. So you went from orange to yellow, so you're keeping your identity. And at all times keeping your authenticity, while green, you're about moving into that love space with anything and all things, and back to having the confidence of choice, learning the power of thought, and learning that you are this wonderful being altogether that is safe. That is what I see with your painting. And I grabbed a card. I said, so what is this painting? And it's to give you an encouragement to know that you have the foundation needed to go in the direction you need to go. Okay?
That is deep. I love that. I love that. I got your musical song, the healing song that you did on 11/11, Brenda.
I remember.
OMG.
I know. Whoops.
Seriously, OMG.
Seriously.
I did it outside. Kind of freaked me out the first time. But I did it outside. It was awesome. I do it when the mood calls for it. I guess when I'm listening to my intuition, so I do it when my intuition says do it, because interesting enough, I did it one time and the audio kept cutting off.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, I must not need to listen to it, or it must be broke. And the whole time I'm thinking, you know what, I just must not need to listen to it. Waited a couple days, listened to it. There was nothing wrong with the MP3. I'm like, okay, I must not have needed to listen to it.
What I heard,
So
what you just told me is that you have to remember when you're doing certain things like this, you will increase the vibrational rate, and other things can't handle your frequency. Because the first time we started doing sepia, our energy is so incredibly different that and Mark says, hey, you know, this is what happens is that sometimes when you're channeling too much energy, it can interfere with the audio and anything else. So you were creating the foundation of this energy field, and which was interfering with other things around you. So yes, you probably when that happens again, they're saying just let it go. And feel the rhythm, because you already know the song, you already know it, and just allow yourself to just flow and finish. And when you're finished, you will all of a sudden start to become mastering of what you need to do. And what that is part of downloading the frequency, allowing yourself to integrate with it. Because if you have your frequency and then there's another frequency and you aren't matched and on the sync, you could zap each other. So you have to find the rhythm and the dance, and then the integration occurs, which allows you to take the next step. So you were channeling a lot of information, and that was created an interference. So I do like these little synchronicities too.
Me too. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, ladies.
Oh, you're
my
welcome.
goodness, y'all are awesome.
Was that I can't receive a gift. I've learned how to receive compliments. I've learned how to receive a gift. But one of the major things is somebody says, here, I'm going to give you this gift. Now I had asked, they kept telling me, well, if you need something, ask. Well, I asked them and I was going to pay them back. They go, no, it's a gift. And I felt an old issue pop up, but I couldn't quite identify with it until it was presented in a conversation with this person. And this person says, well, I did this, and this for you. And it's like, I knew it. And here the voice is, I knew it. I knew you were going to hold it over my head. And that was a big ass clue, excuse my language.
And throw it in my face.
And throw it into my face. And that was where I had to heal it. Because as a kid, I learned that even though they said that it was a gift, they're going to hurt me later. And so that's how I created the relationships with people. It was like, oh man, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? So what you do is you heal. And because I saw it, and it was a pattern that no longer serves me, because it creates obstacles, it makes opportunities missed, and it creates relationships to stink, because that person has to show up like that so I can heal my issue. And so, it depends on whether or not the relationship's supposed to move forward. You know what? That takes both people. Both of you need to work on the healing, doing your part. If you want to grow with this person, just keep working on yourself. And if they want to, then they're going to say, oh, how'd you do that? And then you're going to say, oh, I did it this way. Or they can watch you and then mimic you without knowing it. Because that's how we all learn.
Right, or like when they start eating food and they say, oh, I like that. That looks like it tastes good. Well, how'd you do that? Well, I put these ingredients together. Oh, the same way. Well, you look different. What's that glow about you? Well, I'm doing such and such and such and such.
And we're just showing that we're catalogs of life in different ways, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. We're catalogs.
Right, and I've had so many people in the last few months tell me, all the pictures that I'm putting up on Facebook, they're like, you are glowing. There's a sparkle about you. Mm-hmm. You are just emanating this, whoa! And they're like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, I am, guess what? Healing. And just working through all my stuff, taking my stuff out of a major negative environment, healing, looking at why I was there, and then looking to create better, upgrade, and start understanding how I'm going to live my purpose in a new, healthier way.
Yeah.
And then that is reflected through this, wait for it, skin. The way that I show myself. This blob is showing myself in the world.
Yeah. See, I say meat soup. She calls blob. I don't know which one's better.
And this one emergency doctor because I went through several different trainings in different hospitals. This awful, horrific accident came in, and I'm standing there and just waiting to be with the family because that's what a chaplain does. They don't show it on TV shows. I'm always like, where's the chaplain? Chaplain would be doing that. But anyway, the doctor looks at me and seriously says, what is a nice girl like you doing in a place like this? And I'm like, I'm kind of answering my calling. I'm supposed to be here. He goes, this is horrific. He's the emergency doctor explaining this to me. And I'm like, you're darn right it is. But this is where my soul needed to be to grow and
what
learn.
was interesting, she created an environment that allowed her to face some childhood issues that needed to be resolved. And so she came to see me. We get to meet before she starts doing this chaplain residency, and her soul is saying, oh, I mean, I'm sitting there talking to her as if she already knew her own gifts. And she's like, looking at me like, what are you talking about?
I don't know what that is.
And I'm
What's
looking at her
that?
going, you have been using them, but there's no connection brain-wise to this. Oh, my stars. And so we had done a Reiki attunement on her. I can't remember if we did it before you did the chaplaincy.
Well, I had already done one in California before I moved to Michigan, and then I was just about ready to start the next one. The month before I started that program, I got the Reiki attunement for 1 and 2.
And the Reiki attunement is based on Dragon Reiki, so you have the dragon breath, which makes it move and cleanse and clear and to open channels. So next, what happened, Jen?
So as I'm going through the physical plane of the hospital environment and my Reiki attunement had kicked in on the spiritual level, my gifts of seeing into the spiritual world kicked in right when I was doing my hospital training.
So she didn't just see meat suits that were all...
No, I saw everything else. I'd bring those guests to class, and Brenda would say... I'm like, I don't know, I feel like this person's following me. She's like, well, no kidding, he's right there. So it's really interesting. So all of our souls interacted in that. Maybe they knew that they would need help going to the other side and going through that doorway and that kind of thing. And so we just all interacted in a very fascinating way.
Before that, you wouldn't have been able to handle it because you haven't really had any peeps that could support you, to have your back, to help you understand it. You didn't have the teacher and all of that. And so together, as you're waking up and seeing all this, you're like, oh my God, no, I don't want to.
I want to go back.
Okay, I'm going to do this.
Right, and so then all those healing tools of healing the fear. So.
Yeah, and you've come such a long ways, and then you allow yourself to hook up and get awesome information. You know, we do dream interpretations that we can do really well. And we have, you know, interpret life. Life represents this. And we forget that we're spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical beings. We get caught up that we're physical. And this is happening to us. Well, when you start moving through the maturity of your soul, you move from the baby stage and realize that it's not just you. There's more out there. And then you see it coming at you. And then so how do you have this dance and relationship of the way the energy goes in and out of form, and then how we label that energy as it comes in and out of form, and then how we over-identify, and then we create more dimensions of it, and you're watching how it all of a sudden it constructs. It could be a hellish world or an awesome world. And I see that there's, if you could see energy, you just saw that I just created like octagonal shapes and made it into a, what I call not, no. So what happens is that it's not linear. You actually can see that time is what causes this not to happen all at once. But as you take time to start to know how you know it, then you create just constructions of different dimensional spaces that you can be at once. And if any of you watch Fringe, you have to start laughing, because when you watch Walter, not the one on the other side of the dimension, but Walter, and he gets in his tangents of talking, it's her, that's me. And I just like, oh, that's me. See, she watched Fringe before I did, and she would text me like, oh my God, and then I'm like, oh, but I never got to watch it. Now that the universes and dimensions are all lined up, I'm watching them with her right from the start. I'm like, have to stop and start going on a tangent, and then she's over there going, bah, I knew it, and she's been waiting to communicate with me about these moments. It's like when you watch a great movie and your best friend hasn't watched it, and you're like, I gotta hold my mouth shut this long, hurry up and watch it already. Good gracious, you know.
It's only been 3 years. Who's counting?
Apparently she is.
But what's time anyway?
But yeah, that's true. But it's all about good timing anyway.